In this video, we'll see Chris Muntz explains how by chance he started to rehearse a cappella and discovered that it worked better. When I saw that video, like him, I had been rehearsing a church choir a cappella for the same initial reasons. I have no piano skills. But in watching him, I realized that chant notation gave me a great advantage. So in the previous 4 videos, I explained how a cappella singing and rehearsing is integral to church choirs. But here is Chris Muntz showing us that even without using the church chant notation, a cappella rehearsing works better than with a piano.
I, of course, have talked a lot on the show already about the way that I teach sight reading and my philosophies about literacy and about ways to really revolutionize the way that we think about literacy in our profession, about the sessions that I proposed for the ACDA National Convention. One session in particular, which I called Literacy is Equity. That session was rejected on the grounds that if I wanted to talk about literacy, I should also talk about not literacy. And that was actually one of the responses from a reviewer, meaning to remind me that not all cultures read music. Well, of course, I know that, but the session I was proposing was about literacy and how to teach it. And I should probably say, I'm up here as a podcast host, but that's my side job. My main job is teaching high school 9 through 12. I teach in Kansas City, in a suburb called Lee Summit. We have 3 large high schools in Lee Summit, and our evolution of working towards an a cappella rehearsal has then spread into our whole district, and they all do it now because it works so well. Okay, and so, but let me first tell you the origin story. I was rehearsing a choir of 9th and 10th graders about 12, 13 years ago or so at the same high school. I was the assistant then, and we had one accompanist that we had to share between 2 chamber choirs that were rehearsing at the same time. And since I was working with the JV choir, the varsity choir got the keyboard player every Monday night. That left me sitting at the piano, and I suck at piano. I'm really, really bad at it. Where I was like, guys, we've been learning solfege in class, and we've been using it as our warm-ups and all these things. We're just going to have to start using that stuff to read the music because I can't play anymore. And at first, it was very slow, and it was very time-consuming, and it was also very frustrating, but at least I was back out away from the piano making connections with my students. Okay? By the end of that school year, those 9th and 10th graders in every musicianship category were more advanced than the 11th and 12th graders in one school year. Of course, the science of reading, the neuroscience of reading, means that in order for them to look at a piece of music and know what it's supposed to sound like, they have to have already learned different musical patterns by that point. I like to call it a audio library of sound files stored in their brain. Okay, so that they can look at the music and then know how to sing it. So that's our warm-up time at the beginning of every day. That's singing solfege exercises. You got your do, re, mi, re, do, all those things, right? And that time every day is what's instilling a memory of what those patterns sound like. And that's why it's important in your warm-ups that you are not just going straight up and down scales every day. You're doing all kinds of different patterns and arpeggios and all of those types of things because you want that audio file to be large enough that they can access anything. Okay? So that's really important. So I want to make sure I don't leave that unsaid, that of course, yes, we are using rote teaching to build that library of sound files. As I said, introducing scales and arpeggios. And this is just my opinion. People would think about this differently possibly, but I sparingly start introducing music theory as we're going. I try not to overwhelm them. For example, my beginning kids at the end of first semester, as part of their final exam, they have to be able to name major key signatures. That's pretty much it. That's the only thing I ask them to learn in terms of music theory. Why? Because as you're about to see, they need to be able to look up at the screen and know where their pitch is. And if they don't know what key we're in, they can't know what pitch they're supposed to sing. So that's kind of the main thing. And then as they go, as I feel like they're ready for more music theory, I can point out, usually trying to use the repertoire to like, oh, you notice that this doesn't sound major. Oh, we might be in a minor key. What does that look like? Right? And trying to have those conversations gradually. And I would do, now keep in mind, after we've done a bunch of warm-ups and established scales and arpeggios and all of that. Can you all hear this pitch? Could you call it do and sing it? Oh, I love the 9th grade vowels. I love it. Yes. Yep. That's lovely. Now follow my hands. If you're hand sign people, you'll be able to read my hands. Sing what I show you. Okay, close, close. But of course, if you're an adolescent female, you probably got really breathy already, or you were yelling. Okay, so I might have talked about that. I might have take that moment, even though this is a sight reading lesson. We're going to talk about why that next note started to feel strained, and we can introduce that concept. Okay, let's try it again. Excellent, because that happens in class too. And then I get to talk about what just happened. You guessed, which is what you will try to do when you read the music as well. Don't guess. Okay, follow my hands. Yes, except, are the ninth graders on the very first day of school going to get that right? No. So we need to learn how to sound out those skips. Okay, in my 2 o'clock session, we're going to be talking a lot about literacy in the brain. Okay, and so that's kind of a sequel to this, but the equivalent of do, mi, that's sounding out a word. Neurologically, that's the same thing. So we have to allow them to. So then I would usually say, in that case, because pretend like you all did it wrong, right? And I would say, which note did we disagree on? Because usually somebody will get it, but lots of people won't, and that's how I would respond. Which note did we disagree on? Because they'll always hear it. They're like, we didn't all sing the same mi. Okay, well, let's figure that out. So then I would go like this. And just start messing with them until they can have that neural pathway formed. Okay? And then the next step, after doing a little bit of that, would be that I would teach them the concept of audiation, which is that our job now is to look at this exercise and try to hear it in our head before we sing it. They've established what do sounds like, and then I would teach them what audiation means on the first day of school, which simply means to hear the song in their head, and oftentimes they will look at me confused. Okay? So at that point, I'll explain. Everybody close your eyes and try to hear someone singing Happy Birthday. It only takes a few seconds, and I'll ask, can you hear it? Yeah, of course. Everyone can hear music in their head. Everyone. Okay? And so that's audiation. That's all it is. So now our job is to take that pitch that we just heard and just practiced and hear in our head. So what we do is I make them stand up. You don't have to stand up because then you won't be able to see the screen. And we actually move our hands to the exercise. Let's try it. Ready and go. But audiation sounds like silence. It's very loud in your brain, silent here. Okay, again, ready and go. Then, now that we've audiated, I would simply say 1, 2, ready and sing. That's lovely, except on the first day of school, they will go, okay? And then I will take them back to the concept of breath. We hear the pitch, we form a vowel, and sing at a 6. Go. To. And then I will tell them, every time we read it, it has to sound just like that. Ready and go. Excellent. And that first exercise on the first day of school, including all of the rules and explanations, will take them about 20 minutes. And then class is about half over. Okay? So then the progress, though, starts to happen after that first day, because a lot of that is just expectation setting and process learning, what they're learning to do, step 1, step 2, step 3.
So, a cappella is possible with modern notation, but there's 2 fundamental things to notice here in this video. 1, the teacher is facing the students with the same tools that the students have. Then real scaffolding can happen. The teacher demonstrates, then guides through correction, then slowly releases the singers to independence. Second thing, repertoire matters. There is repertoire that is meant to impress an audience. Oh, wow, they can do that. or repertoire that helps acquire learning literacy. In the Catholic liturgy, the choice is very clear. Liturgy is to edify the faithful. Liturgical books spell this edification in music by defining clearly 3 degrees of participation. 1, 2, 3. So, in conclusion of our 5 videos, I would like to call every Catholic singer who can read music to let us read the Vatican II document called Musicam Sacram, defining those 3 degrees of participation, 1, 2, 3, and let us teach music literacy to our sisters and brothers. I hope you will join me in that effort. Thank you.